Welcome to the course, Node.js Testing Beyond the Basics. I'm not sure if you are aware, but to craft this course, I was engaged in more than 30 consulting projects in which I gained a lot of insight and feedback. Then I participated in at least 15 conferences where I tried most of this content, and then based on the audience feedbacks, I improved it. I also shared this material in my blog post and in few GitHub repos in which more than 2 million people were visiting. Based on the audience feedbacks and issues, I was able to enhance this content and got new ideas. And then based off all of this, for more than 2 years, I worked to put together all of these content pieces, countless red-eye nights to craft this course together. And all of this to meet our goal, our mutual goal. If this graph represents the testing knowledge in our industry, most of the people gain professionalism and control the basics of testing. However, this doesn't cover how you test distributed advanced cloud application with things like database, message queue, to name a few examples. The aim of this course, though, is to take you to the master level and cover the beyond the basics topics. With this, you can really master the hard parts and efficiently cover your out with testing and deploy faster confidently. As a bonus, you also boost your career with knowledge that others lack. Before starting, let's ensure that you meet all the prerequisite topics to enroll in this course. I assume that you have experience with coding Node.js backend applications and already experimented in at least one API framework and used databases. It is also assumed that you wrote at least a few tests with any kind of test runners and use some mocking library test doubles in your test. Optionally, it is useful if you also have some Docker and message queues experience. If not, that's not a blocker, but it might be a good idea to read some about these topics as you enroll in this course. If you don't have experience with all of the mandatory topics here, I suggest that you stop now, drop me a message, and I'll be sure to convert you to the basics testing course. Now that we ensure that you are familiar with the basics of testing, let's discuss the agenda of this course, Beyond the Basics. The first topic to cover would be how to set up your testing infrastructure. Given that you have database, cache, and other infrastructure, you must make it available to the test. How do you do it in the right and performant way? Then we will cover how to deal with data, how to set up the database, how to clean up the data between tests, if at all, and other interesting database-related challenges. And then, given that your distributed app have multiple services components, or maybe you call it microservices, how do you test the integration between all of this? We're about to discuss multiple techniques like contract testing and others. Then, most of the distributed apps use message queues, and this takes very unique characteristics. How do you tame this beast? We're about to cover this as well. The next section is about some things that only few pay enough attention to, and it's about the deep error flows of the system. Does the app crash or doesn't crash when it should? Does it report correctly to the monitoring system? And other beyond the basic and critical error flows. And then last, a modern testing strategy. What should be your workflow? How do you approach a new feature? Which type of test should you write? And how many of each one of them? This is just a brief of topics that we're about to meet. And this should get you most of the techniques and knowledge to deal with common testing challenges in a modern app. We're about to demonstrate things with the test runners Jest and Mocha, but it's highly relevant for any testing runner that you're using because it's mostly about the concepts and the syntax is quite similar. So, how do you practically take this course and learn efficiently? First, go online using the web interface or the iOS app, and on the left side you'll find a navigation bar that holds sections. Each section represents a core topic, like this for example. Choose the first section and just click play on the video. Watch it in a quiet environment where you can really focus. If the pace is too fast or too slow for you, you can change the speed in the player. After watching the video, scroll down below, and in most of the lesson, you're likely to find a quiz or more, which is a question about the core ideas that were conveyed in this lesson. I highly encourage you to take this quiz as it will allow you to ensure that you got the main messages. Once done, click on complete and continue to check this lesson and move to the next one. Now, this is where I need your attention about a very important idea. By the end of most section, you'll find an exercise, which is an assignment coding for you based on a code repository that is shared with you. You'll find there almost 100 assignments where approximately a third of them are interesting and beyond the basics. And I can't emphasize enough how important is this to your learning journey. The difference between practicing or not is dramatic. I suggest that you at least, after each section, try at least few assignments, code them before moving forward. Where do you find and how do you process these exercises? This course includes two repositories. You may find the URLs in the attachment of this lesson here, below the video. The first repository is the course examples, where you can find all the code examples that I'm showing in the course. The second one is for practicing. It contains a different application and all the coding assignments for you. Let's briefly explore this repository so you can see what value you can extract out of them. This is the first example app repository, and here you can find two things of interest. First is an example application where you can see a typical Node.js backend with typical tests, the one that I'm showing in my video. There's also a recipes folder that includes test examples of various topics like authentications, error handling, data isolation, etc. Another area of interest is here in the homepage, where you can find a list of best practices and instructions per topic. See here you can see an instruction, practices, and a code example for each one of them. I suggest that a day or two after watching each video, go over the corresponding section and read the practices again. In other words, instead of watching all of the videos of a section and the exercise and reading the practices in a single day, try to spread this over multiple days. This learning technique is called spaced repetition. It was shown in reputable researches that once you spread your learning of a topics over multiple days, the learning becomes much more efficient and you are likely to remember these concepts longer. The second repository is where you practice. It contains another example application with assignments for you. Here in the test folder, you find multiple mission files for you. How do you process them? How do you install it over your computer? You'll find all of this in the first section, exercise lesson. There are detailed explanation about how to take the exercises. With that, you are ready to get going. If something is not working, you can't log in, not satisfied, blocked, drop me an email to this address, and if it's urgent, I'll typically reply within a day. You are also welcome to ask any question about the content. In this case, where you are not blocked, I might reply in just a few days.